Alright guys, TacticalRab back again today. I hope you're doing well and enjoying your day so far, and Gentleman's Agreement drama is returning already. The last couple of years have had lots of talk about the sniper rifles, whether they'll be banned, whether the pros will be allowed to use them within their own decided rule set. Right now, the snipers are definitely on the chopping block potentially. Shotzzy does not seem so keen to get rid of them, but the pros are trialing no attachments, and if that doesn't work in their opinion, then they will be gone for this year's CDL. Very much enjoyed your thoughts in the comment section below. Hit the like button if you enjoy. Subscribe if you're new as always, I'd greatly appreciate it. It really helps out the channel. Thank you very much indeed for doing that one. Plenty to dive into today. Firstly, to say this from the Minnesota Rokkr, they're moving from Minnesota down to Texas. I'm not sure this is the first, I think this might be the first time actually where they have a house in Texas that the Minnesota guys are moving to for the upcoming season. The last couple of years they're based in Minnesota. Some pros weren't so happy about that all the time, and it makes sense from a practice perspective and, you know, all those type of questions about ping and stuff to be in Texas. And that's the plan for Minnesota, certainly for the winter, I believe, and then they might go back to Minnesota for the summer, not really sure, but by the time the summer comes around, it's pretty much going to be the end of the season. So the Minnesota guys are on the road. That is the plan. Quick note on the Vegas Legion, because I didn't even really recognize yesterday, we talked about Clayster and Temp. Those guys came second in that Flank 38 tournament, but actually in fourth came the SMG duo of ProLoot, of course, and TJ Halley on the team that they had. So I thought it was pretty interesting stuff that so far Vegas, they've looked up and down, but pretty decent in scrims up against most teams they've played, and their entire team delivers some good performances here in this Hardpoint and Search and Destroy tournament. So I'm just excited for Vegas to actually be decent this season. Hopefully they can be. Shame they couldn't change their logo in time, but yeah, still nonetheless, they're trying to move forward with this Las Vegas Star thing, but unfortunately they weren't allowed to actually change their proper logo because they got to the deadline too late. Let's talk GAs. Firstly, this, as we saw earlier today from Scump when he absolutely zaps Dashy across the map with the Vaznev. Is there a possibility this weapon gets GA'd? Because I know that many pros have suggested, look, the time to kill in this game is so fast, let's try and use the weaker weapons. Like, they're already starting to use the Scar a lot, and the Scar actually statistically is one of the weaker ARs in the game. The AUG, or the STG, or whatever it's called, is maybe the strongest weapon in the entire game right now, and the pros have already seemingly decided to probably not use it. So whether this SMG actually remains, that's the question, because even as Accuracy says, I'm on the case in terms of potentially GAing this one and using a weaker sub. But are there too many weaker subs? I don't know. There are probably a couple. Will the SMG players agree, though? That's the drama that's going on. Now, the flash grenades we saw, they got bans from, well, the pros don't want to use them anymore. CMG have also got rid of them as well. So stun grenades are now what's being used. And there's a few things so far getting added to the GA list. Certain weapons, you know, the Kastov 74U we saw only a few days in, got GA'd by the pros. One of the big questions, though, of course, is about the sniper rifles. So we've seen Europe generally leads North America in terms of what they do with the Gentleman's Agreements. Once Europe decides something, it's usually only a matter of time until North American pros follow suit as well. We saw this happen in Cold War with a few different things, the AK-47 and stuff, or whatever it was called, in that game, and usually, you know, a couple of days, couple of weeks, they'll follow suit eventually. Last night it became clear that Europe was going to get rid of the snipers, and they weren't going to be used anymore in competitive going forwards, and apparently they're all fully gone. So does this mean that North America will fully GA the snipers, or will that not be the case? Because we didn't like it generally in Cold War, I don't think, when snipers were banned. They had decent reasoning for doing so. The smoke grenades were kind of broken in that game. The snipers had very strong aim assist, so there wasn't really a way to counter them so much, and therefore they decided to get rid of the snipers. Then they kept that idea going into Vanguard. The community said, look, we're not happy at all with snipers being gone. You've got to give them a go. They eventually did bring them back for the kickoff, and then they realized actually the snipers aren't particularly strong. Last year, the snipers were only used on 1 or 2 maps. We only really saw one player using them per team. So the snipers weren't particularly strong in last year's game. This year, they're definitely strong. They kill fast. They have, you know, they aim down sights pretty fast as well compared to some of the other weapons in the game, actually, which is kind of surprising to me. They've got pretty strong aim assist. So there's a few reasons why the snipers are good in this game. Last year, there was all this drama about January as to the fact that OpTic wanted snipers in, but they voted for them to be gone because they wanted smoke grenades in. Like, you know, all this GA drama that happens every single year with the voting behind the scenes. And this is the year before in Cold War where snipers were banned along with other things as well. So will snipers be gone from this game? Is that a good thing? Is that a bad thing? But could this cloud actually also have a bit of a silver lining? So Luty says right last night from the European side, effective immediately, we've decided to GA the snipers. So snipers are now gone. But Envoy says you should try no attachments. This is one of the things that was proposed last year and I think was eventually done, that only certain attachments can be used on the sniper rifles. And if you do that, they get significantly worse, right, without these certain attachments. attachments. Now, I was even thinking there might be attachments that actually make the gun even worse, because there are certain attachments that have probably more negatives than positives, right? Like, what if you put an attachment on that maybe increases the damage? I don't know if these exist. I mean, there's 160 of them, so I'm not sure, like, if there's one that you can find that does this. But, you know, let's say the pros think that the ADS time is a bit too fast. Like, is there an attachment that increases your damage, maybe, but also increases the ADS time? Maybe you can even tune the attachment to make the ADS time really slow, or whatever you want to do. So there are some ways to work around this, I think. And the pros in North America have said, for now, we're going to get rid of the attachments and try that. Because I believe there's one attachment as well that Dashy found that literally is called aim assist. And I'm guessing it gives you aim assist, or stronger aim assist or something. I can't imagine it does anything different to that. Maybe it's just called that because Infinity Ward trying to play a joke on us. But with no attachments, they do get significantly worse than they could be, and therefore they might be viable for the pros. Shotzzy says right here that he's not particularly keen to get them G8. He thinks they should stay, doesn't think they're actually too strong, but he reckons for now they're trialing them without any attachments on.
Well, I can tell you what we're trying out, chat. Apparently, I mean, this was the end or something. Apparently, the pros are trying, or like, we're trying out no attachments on the sniper rifle. And I guess if that's like OP as well, then I guess we're gonna G8 or G8 snipers. Which I don't know. I feel like out of all the games that I've played, I mean, obviously it's really good. Don't get me wrong, but I mean, if we have smokes in, I don't see why we need to take it off.
So do you think from what you've seen so far, snipers are too strong in this game? My opinion always is that, like, look, if you GA the snipers down to only one per team, if you say one per team, no attachments, like, I don't really see where the issue arises there. Like, okay, yeah, one player's going to be in a strong position. Whether they use smokes or not, I don't know if the smokes are going to be too broken in this game again, because often they do. You know, you've got the one-way element of the smoke grenades, which of course isn't ideal, and map dependent and stuff as well. But honestly, if there's a sniper on one team, you can counter it with your own sniper, or you can go to the other side of the map and make that sniper pretty useless. Of course, one of the issues is with good sniper rifles is that you've got good pistols as well. So, you know, if a player's got a sniper, in an ideal world, if they're trying to retake a bomb site, they're going to struggle a lot. But if they've got a very powerful pistol in their back pocket, then it also makes them a bit stronger anyway. So I can understand part of the reasoning, but to me, you never really see anyway two snipers on the map. Even if you GA it to only one per team, you're probably not going to see two on a team anyway, even if that wasn't like a discussion between the pros. So to me, the snipers probably just aren't too strong. We saw back in World War II on USS Texas, the teams would often use like two per side. There'd be two on offense, two on defense, holding down both lanes. And they never talked then about GAing the snipers, and now it's a discussion every single year. So the pros might do it. This is maybe one more step to doing it. But, you know, I think there's a decent chance they think, you know what, it's probably okay. And if they do GA it, I wonder if there's going to be any community backlash like there was last year to stop that being the case anymore. Now, this is the other part of the discussion. Is about the potential health, because this is the question that's been weighed up between the community right now, is whether it's possible to increase the health in CDL modes. This is a possibility, and the pros want to try it. If they decide it's better, will the CDL actually oblige? Will they say, you know what, let's do this? Because if they do, then they've got to do the same thing for ranked play, right, in reality. So, you know, that's where the question arises. Do they want to do that? I don't know. I don't know if this will go through. But it's been a conversation between pros, content creators, and others as like, the time to kill's too fast, let's up the health, because you can do it. You can put the health up to, I think, 130%, maybe 125%, because Hitch is hosting the second annual Pro Sim Invitational 5v5 Modern Warfare 2 S&D tournament. 60 grand on the line for this one in a couple of days' time. And as he says right here, running the Pro Sim tourney on 125% health and weaker guns as the set classes. Also, overclocked is in, so dead silence will be more prevalent. So he's trying to make some tweaks here, and also I think there's an idea that you can potentially play with a classic minimap if you put the red dots on. So we talked about this yesterday as a possibility that it's kind of bugged that you can get away with it. So Hitch is trying to find a way to play this game that makes it better than it currently is. Really cool stuff. Try and use some weaker weapons, try and use some increased health, and if the pros think that plays better, then, you know, lobby the CDL to actually make these changes for the proper CDL modes. As I say, what you do to ranked play there, I don't know who's going to agree to this and whether there's going to be any blocks in the road. But if this plays better, then I think it's a good idea to at least give give it a go. The issue is if you increase the health, snipers now become irrelevant, right? Because the snipers do probably like I don't know what they do, like 96 damage, but then they have a multiplier for the chest and the head and everything. So probably a headshot still kills at 125 health, but an upper body shot probably doesn't kill when the health is this high. So either you change the attachments or whatever to make that happen, or snipers become irrelevant. So that's the question really. What would you guys prefer? Have higher health, probably a better gameplay experience, but no snipers, or lower health, but snipers are still viable and might be used? And also if the snipers do get GA'd, then it's maybe a further kind of discussion on actually getting the health raised, right? Because if snipers are gone anyway, then there really is no good counter argument to why we shouldn't try the higher health. Because right now the counter argument is, well, snipers aren't viable at 130, 125 health, so, maybe it's not worth giving it a go. But if the pros think snipers are too strong anyway and want to get rid of them regardless, then, then you might as well try it, right? So I think that's what Bance is kind of saying here, that, they've tried some 130 health using snipers, can't get a one-shot with snipers on 130 health, so it's a tough one. But if snipers are gone anyway, as they want to do seemingly at the moment, then why not try the higher health? So, look, again, it's another classic case of Call of Duty pros trying to do absolutely everything they can to make this game competitively viable. And look, whether we agree with them or not, at least they're trying to give it a go to change some things with the rule set or whatever to make the gameplay better for competitive than it might otherwise do. And it will see the consequences of this, I believe, in the coming days. I know that we wish, and that the pros wish, and Sasha wishes, and Chino as well, that it was, just the good old days of slapping quick draw red dot stock on your M8A1 and just vibe it out with it. Can't do that anymore, of course. All the attachments have to come into the conversation, but yeah, not how Call of Duty is at the present time. Talking of GAs, just to say this here on aBeZy, because I saw Aiden use this a couple of days ago, an absolutely insane spot. He's got FMJ here on his scar, and this wall is clearly bugged as well, because you can see the red triangles that appear above the players' heads through this wall. So you stand on this ledge here, you can see the red triangle, and just bangs him through the wall with about 3 or 4 bullets, just, shooting through this is no issue at all, because you can just, it's kind of insane that this spot even exists, but unfortunately he gets a couple of easy kills using it, and yeah, that's a spot that we might be seeing more and more often. So this type of stuff is what's surely going to get GA'd. I know we do see wall bangs occasionally getting used, even last season, to good effect, and it's probably okay if you don't just get the red triangle, right? If the red triangle, or like diamond, I guess, doesn't appear above their heads, then like it's probably okay. But if it does, then it's absolutely absurd, because you just get this information for free. If you had to get callouts from your teammate that someone was there and then wallbang it, I don't think that's so bad, but in this case it's just absolutely ridiculous. Couple of interesting stats to finish out with here. Firstly, from Brian Stats, most top 4 placements in Call of Duty history. Thought this is crazy. I believe he's going to do top 3 soon as well, but Crim and Scump pretty much tied for the most top 4 placings ever. Scump is probably going to break the record this season, you'd imagine, as well. So Crim6 has got 66, Scump's got 65, Clay, Formal, Karma, etc. all the way down here. Top 3s, I reckon Scump is probably leading the lines on that anyway, just because Paul Scump has had a fair few top 3 placements in his career. But yeah, just crazy to think the amount of tourneys these guys have gone to and then placed, placed top 4 better in them over, this is from 2007 to 2022. So I wish we had more events per season, really. I think we could definitely up it to like 7 per season, 7 or 8 per season. That would be an ideal zone. We get 6, it's not the end of the world, but it's difficult to add too much to these numbers nowadays, because there just isn't quite as much going on as there used to be. Quick mention, of course, because right now, I believe as this video is going live, the Breaking Point Next tournament is going to be on today and tomorrow. Shout out Paradox as well for providing the MVPs of both the European and the North American sides with an RTX 3080. So great stuff. The Paradox MVP will be announced shortly. But yeah, head over to the Breaking Point YouTube channel and get watching that now, because I think I should be live. All the other guys are live, covering the first big challenger tourney of the season. Very much enjoyed your thoughts in the comment section below. Hit the like button if you enjoyed. Subscribe if you're new. Take care, and I'll see you next time.